We've got with us today Jerry Robinson from followthemoney.com. He's a Christian economist, and he also talks so much about the markets and what's going on right now in this crazy time when we've seen so many people piling into GameStop, pushing the price up, and also that moving into silver. We want to kind of take a step back and look at, I've said often, is that precious metals are insurance, you know? Obviously, we can't give financial advice, right? But one of the fundamental reasons to own precious metals is to protect yourself in a worst case scenario. And a lot of the time, precious metals can be seen as like a get rich quick kind of scheme. And that's definitely not the perspective we want to have. And also, there is often a good argument, you know, for the fundamentals of silver. It could go a lot higher, right? But at the same time, the most fundamental reason to own precious metals is insurance, right, against crisis. So I'd like to get your perspective, Jerry, on what we're seeing right now with GameStop, with silver. How do we approach this? I know you're a Christian economist, so how do we approach this maybe from a Christian perspective and from a prudent perspective as well?
Well, we've seen a lot. I mean, we've seen a lot of movement. We've seen a lot of coordination by retail investors that is designed to, in one way, you know, bust up perhaps a hedge fund, or to take back some of the autonomy that many people feel that they don't have because the market is rigged. These are understandable sentiments. I mean, it's completely understandable. I have been coaching traders and investors for years. One of the most greatest enemies that I have seen destroy people, both investors and traders, is greed. And it's difficult not to see greed all over the United States of America, but particularly, of course, on Wall Street. And not just the hedge funds. We see, of course, greed in the hedge funds, not just in the big banks. We see greed clearly in the big banks. But when we see retail traders organizing in such a way to copy that greed, well, that may or may not be a good solution. You know, if the greed is the problem, then more greed is probably not going to help. And what I would say is that, of course, I'm not speaking to everyone. I realize that I'm probably just speaking to those who are Christian or who do have a spiritual sense about them. And what I would say is that a love of money is really what is at root here. When I coach traders or investors, one of the things that I teach them is that they have to have a system. You know, they have to have a plan. They have to have a purpose as to what they're doing. And if they don't have a purpose, and if they don't have a plan, and if they don't have a system, if they don't have some sort of feedback loop, then they may be, Elijah, they may be susceptible to a meme on social media. They may be susceptible to make their trading plan whatever somebody else wants their trading plan to be that day. And that's not a good way forward. So we teach the importance of dominating money, making money your servant. Money is a great servant. It's a terrible master. And one of the ways that you can really actively do this and really overcome greed is to, what I say is, break the law of money. And what do I mean by break the law of money? Well, the law of money is that it is better to receive than it is to give. That's the law of money. When money is made, printed by the Fed or Treasury in coordination, that money is not made to be given, right? Giving is a violation of the law of money. Money is made or printed to be used and earned. And so when we take money and we give it, we are going by the law of love, which says to give is better than to receive, versus the law of money, which says to receive is better to give. And so what we teach is the importance of front loading whatever your trading plan is. What's your purpose? You know, what's your purpose in trading? What's your purpose in investing? As you pointed out, a great point, that gold and silver, they are fundamentally hedges. You know, they're fundamentally insurance against out of control fiscal and monetary policies, which we certainly have. Are they get rich quick type of assets? Well, I would assume that at some point they could drastically go up because of some sudden realization of what's happening. But I think to view them that way and to approach them that way is to fundamentally misunderstand what they are. And what you have said is very, very clear. I mean, that's exactly what they are. They are insurance. And so to abuse them or to use them for something else, or to even do the same thing in the stock market, is perhaps to really misunderstand, what money is all about and what our purpose is. And I'm just going to quote a scripture. I think a scripture is very appropriate here, and it's a warning to those who love money. Here at followthemoney.com, people might say, well, that's weird. What do you mean you don't love money? I don't love money, Elijah. I don't love it. I love my children. I love my wife. I love my parents. I love people. I love God. But I don't love inanimate objects. I can't. That's absurd. So loving money will hurt you. I'm going to quote this real quickly. 1 Timothy 6, 9, and 10. It says, but those who desire to be rich fall into temptation. They fall into a snare, into many senseless and harmful desires that plunge people into ruin and destruction. For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. And it is through this craving for what? Craving for money, for more, right? Insatiable craving, that some have wandered away from the faith and have pierced themselves with many pangs. So greed can actually harm your faith. Not only can it destroy your life, not only can it destroy your marriage or destroy your relationships or destroy other things, it can destroy the most precious thing that you have, and that is your relationship to God. And so greed we have to be on guard against greed at all times. And I would say that the memes on social media aren't taking that into consideration. They aren't thinking about whether this is destructive to their spirit. They aren't thinking if this is destructive to their family. I saw, in fact, when I was looking on social media, I try not to look too often, Elijah, but when I was looking, I saw many people were borrowing money from uncle to be able to buy more silver or GameStop on Robinhood, on margin or whatever. And you're just thinking, really, this is not really I get the movement. I understand where the angst is coming from. I'm not judging that, but I'm saying that the outcome can be devastating. And what it really means is that as individual traders, we just simply have to have a plan. We have to have a system. We have to understand our purpose, really, before we even get started. But I created many years ago something called our 5 levels of financial freedom. And it talks about how to break free financially, but it's from a biblical perspective. And level 1, the very first step, Elijah, the very first thing we tell people to do is to create a giving plan. Before you create a trading plan, before you create an investment plan, before you create a savings plan, you have to create a giving plan. And the reason why we teach to create a giving plan first is because money is the competitor for your heart, the chief competitor for your heart. And it wants to master you. It wants to destroy you. It wants to devour you. It's inanimate. It's amoral. But there's something in us that craves money. There's something in us that desires more. And if we don't put the lid on that from the very beginning of our pursuit of growing our business, growing our wealth, growing our retirement, whatever it is, we will be susceptible. And so what I would say is, for individuals who say that makes sense, but I don't have a giving plan and I don't even know where to start, I would just say go to followthemoney.com/5 levels. And there in the very first level, you'll see giving, create a charitable giving plan. And some people say, well, I can't give because I don't have any money yet. And that's not really the point. The point isn't whether you have a lot of money to give right now or not. The point is that it begins with a thought. It begins of, why am I wanting to earn money? Why am I wanting to trade? Why do I want to invest? Why do I want to buy silver or gold? Why do I want to buy any of this stuff? Well, if it's just to consume it upon our own lusts, it's not going to satisfy us. We'll be hurt. We might even hurt others. But if it's specifically designed to fulfill a purpose, that's a greater purpose, because each of us have a purpose in life. And if it's to fulfill that purpose, well, then it can be a great blessing. And I'm just a big believer that we have to front load that mindset. We have to front load that mindset before we get too far in the weeds. And then, because most of us think, well, we'll make some money and then we'll give. That's a good way to think, for sure. But it's good to give. But you want to front load that idea so that you have that same heart from the very beginning, and you're always looking for opportunities to help. A lot of us have made a lot of money over the last couple of years in trading and investing, and that makes the way for us to be able to give. We've been so blessed with what has happened in all of these different assets, but we have been able then to be a blessing to other people. And I think that's really what's missing sometimes, I think, from some investors and traders. They make trading the end instead of making it a means to an end. Trading and investing is a wonderful thing, but it's not your life. Your life isn't about trading. Your life isn't about investing. That's not what you're here for. But you do need to be a good steward of what you have. So finding that purpose, identifying that purpose, and creating a charitable giving plan early in your life, and then moving according to that and adjusting it as need be, I think is the solution. But I do feel sorry for those who are getting caught up in a lot of the mania, and some of them may make money out of it. Others, I know, are going to lose money. And it's better not to move according to what other people want us to do with our money. It's better for us to sit down and figure out, what do we want to pursue? What is it that we're called to do? What is our purpose? And then from there, kind of move forward. So yeah, it's a very tough environment in this present hour. It's very, very tough. And there's a lot of temptation that we need to avoid.
Definitely. Well, Jerry Robinson, we really appreciate your insights today. And yeah, if people are interested in learning more, they can go to your website, followthemoney.com. Jerry, once again, thank you so much, and God bless.
Thanks, Elijah. God bless you too.